Deceptacons, false faces, and strategic spiritual sabotage. Welcome back. I am Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and this is the Destiny Swapping series. In spiritual warfare, a Deceptacon is any person, entity, or scenario that presents as benign, helpful, or aligned, yet operates in opposition to your destiny. These are not random misfortunes or irritating distractions. Deceptacons are calculated distortions engineered to confuse, delay, and siphon. They imitate legitimacy, pose as allies, and mimic divine alignment, while quietly undermining the path you're meant to walk. They appear in three primary forms: people who copy, flatter, or align with you while covertly draining your energy, copying your insights, or rerouting your progress; entities that mask themselves as guides, loved ones, or inner intuition, offering misleading insight to create confusion; situations that seem like destiny-aligned opportunities but lead to energetic traps, wasted time, or soul-level entanglement. Not every reconnection is innocent. Some people return not to reconcile, but to observe. These are what we call monitoring spirits, not always disembodied forces, but often human vessels who serve a spiritual agenda of surveillance. These individuals do not care about your well-being. They care about whether their interference worked. A monitoring spirit may check your social media for signs of success or breakdown, message you with surface-level kindness while secretly hoping for failure, reappear in your life during moments of breakthrough or clarity, bring up the past to destabilize your present momentum. The common denominator: they take information and energy, but offer no peace in return. Recognizing Deceptacons in human form. The most dangerous Deceptacons are not loud, they're strategic. They come in the form of the friend who suddenly copies your ideas and calls it support, the ex who reappears when your new alignment begins to form, the mentor who praises you while subtly diverting your direction, the new connection who feels eerily familiar but creates mental chaos. These are not simple personality flaws. These are spiritual operations, designed to confuse clarity, delay decisions, and interrupt divine timing. Discernment as defense. The key to defeating deception is clarity, not suspicion. You don't win this battle by distrusting everyone. You win by refining your ability to detect energetic incoherence. Truth feels stable. Deception feels warped, confusing, or emotionally erratic. When something or someone shifts your frequency into doubt, exhaustion, or stagnation, you're likely facing a Deceptacon, not a test. Use these checkpoints. After interacting with this person or situation, do I feel sharper or foggier? Does this person require my loyalty or energy, yet offer no real growth? Am I losing momentum since this connection began? If the answer leans toward loss, then the connection is serving as a Deceptacon gate, not a destiny portal. Why they target chosen ones. Deceptacons don't waste energy on the directionless. They appear most often when you're close to a breakthrough. You've detached from a former karmic pattern. You've begun speaking truth or claiming clarity. You've activated a higher level of protection or purpose. In other words, they come for the ones who have left the old system and pose a threat by walking in alignment. Moving forward. Recognizing deception is not a sign of paranoia, it's a mark of elevation. Once you see through the interference, the distraction loses its power. The purpose of a Deceptacon is to hijack your timing and reroute your steps. Refuse confusion, reject false flattery, prioritize peace and spiritual alignment over surface-level validation. There's no need to fight what you've already outgrown. Just stop feeding it. Monitoring spirits. Surveillance in the spirit realm. Some people check in with you not to reconnect, but to report. They ask how you are, but it feels off. They watch your life closely, but celebrate nothing. They return just when you're breaking through. These are not casual observers. They are monitoring spirits, entities, either spiritual or embodied, that track your progress, delays, failures, or ascents, not out of care, but control. Monitoring spirits operate through access. They don't barge in. They get invited through open doors, loose boundaries, unhealed attachments, or emotional familiarity. Their assignment is surveillance, not support. What is a monitoring spirit? A monitoring spirit is a watcher, an entity or person tasked with collecting spiritual intelligence on your life. They appear as familiar faces: former friends, jealous relatives, ex-lovers, or old mentors who suddenly re-enter your orbit. They present themselves as neutral, helpful, or even kind. But their purpose is informational. They want to know if their interference worked, if your elevation stalled, if your clarity dimmed. In spiritual warfare, this is not a metaphor. These are real assignments intended to track, mimic, or obstruct your divine momentum. Signs you're being monitored. Spiritually. You might recognize the presence of a monitoring spirit by the patterns they trigger. A person resurfaces suddenly after years of silence, asking specific questions with vague intentions. You experience confusion, delay, or spiritual fatigue shortly after interacting with someone who claims to be checking in. You have recurring dreams of being watched, stalked, or silently observed from a distance. You feel a sharp energy drop after engaging with someone, especially if they seem emotionally distant but spiritually tuned in. You find out people are gossiping or watching you through others, often repeating private details they should not have access to. In short, they're not gone, they're just silent watchers. Spiritual surveillance disguised as concern monitoring rarely feels aggressive. That's what makes it effective. It mimics care while functioning as control. You may even feel guilty for pulling away from someone who means well. But watch what happens to your focus, energy, or joy after each interaction. The difference is always in the aftermath. A true supporter leaves you lighter. A monitor leaves you fragmented, drained, or unsure of your next step. Their goal is never to overtly destroy. It is to delay by destabilizing your field, casting doubt, or inviting emotional confusion. Why monitoring happens to chosen ones. If your life carries an assignment, it will be monitored. Those who threaten the dark systems by speaking truth, breaking generational cycles, walking in clarity, become high-value targets for surveillance. Monitoring spirits are assigned to observe and report on your moves, relationships, spiritual state, and timing. The more aligned you become, the more the systems that lost access to you seek updates through subtle proxies. These watchers are rarely strangers. They're almost always familiar faces who still have emotional residue or energetic access. How to cut surveillance and restore sovereignty. Once you spot the surveillance, you choose what happens next. You don't owe access to anyone, not even to those with history. Steps to neutralize monitoring spirits. Withdraw your emotional access. You don't need to respond to vague messages or engage in unfinished conversations. Closure is not a requirement. Stop narrating your life. Oversharing online or in casual circles becomes a spiritual liability when your audience includes enemies disguised as friends. Seal your field with clarity. Declare aloud, I revoke all energetic access granted knowingly or unknowingly. No one may monitor my field without my permission. End the surveillance loop. Do not re-engage with people whose return coincides with fatigue, misalignment, or bad dreams. Let them watch, but starve the access. Being watched does not mean being controlled. What matters is whether they're getting the data they came for. Let them wonder. Let them speculate. Let them circle the perimeter with no access to your real momentum. The danger isn't being seen. It's being read energetically, studied emotionally, and decoded spiritually. The strongest protection is a clean field, sealed access, and silence. You don't need to explain why you disconnected. You don't need to reply when they message. You don't need to open the door, just because they knocked. Deceptacons function like decoys, placed in your path to alter your direction before you reach the checkpoint you're destined to activate. The strategy of deception. Deception always seeks consent. But the consent it gathers rarely comes through obvious contracts. It comes through emotional vulnerability, psychological exhaustion, and energetic confusion. The goal of a Deceptacon is rarely destruction. The more effective sabotage is delay. Interference with timing is the most efficient method of spiritual war. If a Deceptacon can cause you to hesitate, second-guess, or reroute at a key moment, they succeed in derailing what was otherwise ordained. Common tactics include energetic mirroring to appear familiar or trustworthy, flattery to gain emotional access, false urgency to push you into misaligned action, guilt trips disguised as accountability, false confirmation of distorted timelines or messages, monitoring spirits, when they come back, just to watch. Hi, I am Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and SOS School of Soul has a brand new series, the AI and Future Technology series. Look, you know the world is changing, and no, it's not going back to normal. Normal is over, and what's coming next is beyond anything we were prepared for. The School of Soul, AI and Future Technology series includes 319 videos on 1. The Download Society, How Data Has Replaced Destiny. 2. Predictive Future, Your next moves aren't random, they're forecasted. 3. Social Credit Systems, The Behavioral Economy Now Governs Access. 4. Hive Mind, Synthetic Telepathy and Collective Algorithmic Control. 5. Nanobots Inside You, Medical, Military, and Programmable Intrusions. 6. Grief Tech, AI-fueled digital resurrection and simulated comfort. 7. Uploading Your Mind, Consciousness Transfer and Data-Based Identity. 8. Deep Fakes plus AI Clones, The Replication of Reality and Identity Theft. 9. Quantum Humans, The Merger of Biology with Quantum Systems. 10. Digital Afterlife, Where Your Data Goes When You Die. 11. Resurrection Science, Reviving Life Through Synthetic Methods. 12. Immortal Science, The End of Death as We Know It. 13. Longevity Science, Gene Editing, Anti-Aging, and Bio-Upgrades. 14. Designer Babies, Engineered Perfection Before Birth. 15. Artificial Wombs, Birth Decoupled from the Female Body. 16. 3D Printing, Printing Organs, Limbs, and even humans. 17. The Humanoid Era, The Rise of Synthetic Beings Among Us. 18. Legacy Humans, The Slow Phase-Out of Unmodified Analog People. 19. Smart cities, algorithmic environments that watch and decide. 20. Cloud-based societies, citizenship without borders or bodies. 21. Hackable humans, emotion, memory, and behavior under code. 22. Biometric scanning, your body is your password and your prison. 23. Sex tech, intimacy reprogrammed by machines. 24. Extinction of gender, fluidity, deletion, and design of identity. Every topic is fully explored with real-world technologies, patents, case studies, ethical analysis, and future forecasts. These aren't someday discussions. This is already happening. Join the SOS School of Soul Vault to overstand the future before it's implemented on you.